We are back and it is time to quilt this board and batten quilt. And as a reminder, this quilt is going to a good college friend of my husband's who is expecting their first baby here at the end of October. And I went into it having a plan for the quilting, and the colors just kind of happened as they did. And so they are doing a woodland animal outdoorsy kind of nursery theme to my understanding. And so I picked these colors so then I could quilt it in a design that matches that motif. So I'm going to quilt it. I have a design that has trees and bears and moose on it, I believe. And so I think I'm gonna quilt that in like a linen color, so then it's kind of camouflaged in there in a way, so to speak. And then for my backing, I have a whole bunch of this. I bought it not this January's Christmas sale, but the year before's Christmas clearance sale. And so I've got lots of it. It's been hanging on here. I've used it in a couple projects so far, but this quilt is narrow enough. I think it's just about 40 inches wide, so I can make it fit on a 42-inch wide fabric, and I'll just have to cut my length. I need to go in and buy batting for this because they're in Colorado, so I think it should be a little bit warmer than the request. So I think I'm gonna get a select loft, which is the mid loft. I don't want to quite do a deluxe, just so it still has a nice cuddly feel to it without being too dense. So with that, I'm gonna trim that to size, go get my batting, and then we'll be over at the long arm. So our Bright and preschool Crayola Fisher-Price friendly quilt is all loaded in. It's gonna be super fun to quilt, and I'm very excited to bring their woodland animal theme into the quilting. So let me show you what that looks like. So here is the moose and bear design, and so I've sized it to just under 12 inches. I might go a little bit smaller, but I also staggered it, so let me show you. So on its own, all the moose are lined up and then all the bear are lined up, but I wanted them to kind of shift a little bit, so I'm going to stagger them. So then every other row I'll have a bear here, bear there, bear here, bear there. I tried flipping it. Let me go back to that so I can show you. So I did the flip where it kind of staggers them, but they're in opposite directions. But I think I like them all being in the same direction, but staggered. So I'm going to get this ready. I might change the size a little bit more. I want to see how big the space is in the bear, and then we'll get quilting. So here we are. The quilting, it took a little while because it is considered a little dense. It does go back and forth a little bit, but it's so cute. So there's the moose, there's a little tree, there's a bear, you can see that. And then because I used the same thread on the back, you can definitely see it there. So there's a lot going on in the back because of that stripe, but I think it's so fun. So I'm gonna go trim this up, and then I'm gonna use the same stripe as the binding. So I'm going to try and find a blue thread so I can top stitch it, at least to coordinate. But then we'll be all done. And this little bright and happy and rainbowy and forest friendly quilt will be on its way to its new home. Trixie has had a long day of doing nothing. She heard her name. We'll see if she comes and helps. She's so sleepy. Yes. You had a hard day chasing lamb chops. That's really what you've been doing. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that love bite. Hey, that's rude. Hey, you're gonna fall off. People are gonna know you're a little spicy. They're gonna see your sour side. I am so super excited with how this came together. I'm very glad that I did not do the larger size, let alone the Muppets fabric with this, because it just lends well to the bright colors and kind of scrappy fabric, and it makes me want to make another one. I think it's neat how like you don't necessarily see the herringbone pattern right away. You kind of see these weird like triangle-y things. I don't know what shape you call that. Parallelogram, maybe? Sure. But when you get it closer and kind of look from further away, you see more of that like braided look that kind of switches sides. So I am excited to see how this would come together in a bigger size, like a super scrappy size. Maybe this will be part of my Scrappy New Year 2.0 is kind of what I'm thinking for next year. Because we all know I got a little ahead of myself, and I'm going to do a little bit better at planning for next year. But back on track with this. I think the striped binding just does the job. Did this print on there go pretty straight? It's kind of at angles in different spots, but I think it still looks amazing and kind of coordinates with the back. I feel like I did this in the back of the hexagon kitties. I can't remember anymore, but I like how you can see the design on there. If I had thought about it a little bit more, maybe I would have switched that to be like a light blue as my binding. Maybe I would have switched that to be a light blue for my bobbin instead of the linen color, but I don't know if that would have made it like even busier, but I like it. I think it's fun. So now I've got to get this out, take some pictures of it, get it out in the mail so we can get to Colorado before the baby's here. And we've got a super cute little Ted Lasso little people set to go with it because my husband's friends are big Ted Lasso fans as well, and it was just too cute to pass up. Sure, it's not with the wild animals theme, but we love a good, fun, nostalgic toy. So there is the board and batten. I really liked it. So again, I will probably do this again in the future, do something a little scrappier, a little bit bigger, and see where to go from there. So let me show you some pictures of the finished quilt, and then we'll be on to something new and exciting next time.